All right, we're here.
Yeah,
Creative
yeah.
Connection.
Squeaky gems. What can make it better? We
Mixed
here
by
to
Hugo.
discuss some topics. We here to discuss some topics and solutions. Bring some good energy, and we here to bring movement. Therapeutic vibes, all types of different sorts. How's everybody feeling today?
Feeling wonderful.
Good.
Great.
Okay.
We
All
have
right.
a very special guest today
Uh-huh.
for our segment, the lovely, beautiful Joe.
Salute, salute, salute.
Hey everyone, how's everyone doing?
We
We
good.
are good. We're better now that we have you.
Well, thank you for having me in. I have a lot to say.
Yes.
But yeah, that's great. We have some questions to ask you that appeals to a various nature of things. Some things about getting yourself together, grooming yourself for what we deal with when you step up and do things brave, and some about just healing. It's different things we want to talk about. It's a well-grounded conversation.
Shout outs to New York Freedom Rally in the building. Kevin, Dan is here. Juju is here.
Yes. Shout out to everybody in the building. We appreciate y'all.
We do want to thank our administrator, Tyree developer, and our sponsors. We have Hamama Greens and Nuestra Salud for all your herbal needs. Squeaky Clean Juices and Gems. We have the promo codes there. Check it out. Shout out to Waterworld. He's in the building. All right. So, basically, Joe, we just want to thank you for everything that you do. We would like you to just explain to the people, to our youth here in the Discord and everywhere who will be checking in afterwards. Just let them know who you are, what you do, how you got started.
Okay, sure. So first and foremost, my first name is Josephine. People know me by Joe Rose or Joe Speaks Truth. I recently changed my username to Joe Said It First because my main account that was Joe Speaks Truth _ that had almost 22,000 followers was taken down by Instagram about 3 to 4 months ago. I'm not sure if it was because I had violations because I allegedly violated community standards, aka I did nothing wrong, or because someone in particular kept reporting my account. Basically, I started protesting the mandates from the very beginning. I kind of knew back in March 2020 that the government was up to nothing good because when I was a teenager, I had read the book Behold the Pale Horse, and I had been in online forums reading certain things and how they were planning and working on a new world order. And then if you look at the back of the dollar bill, there's certain symbolism that's on the dollar. And then I had also been looking at videos of people exposing the inside of Hollywood, the music industry, how they use advertisement, how they use movies, and the education system and things of that nature to indoctrinate and to brainwash the masses. Because growing up, I never really understood why is the world the way that it is? Why there's poor people? Why are there children that get raped? Why are families that don't take care of their kids and things like that? Because I grew up in a household from Dominican immigrants, and I was born and raised in the Bronx. Growing up, I experienced a lot of turmoil because my parents were not there for me emotionally. I experienced verbal abuse, which kind of turned me into a hermit, and I was isolated, and I used to get bullied in school. I got verbally abused in my home. I was a loner in school. I couldn't fit in. I didn't fit in a lot of jobs. And as a teenager, I was mostly home on the computer. I was socially anxious. I was scared to go outside. I had a really low self-esteem and I was suicidal. So I spent most of my days on the computer, and that's how I basically ended up finding information about the government and things like that. And it made a lot of sense to me because, I don't know, as a child, I was deemed weird because I didn't do what the other kids were doing for my age, I guess. So, I guess because of the trials and tribulation that I experienced growing up, and I did a lot of self-help through self-help books. I went to therapy and things like that. After learning about a lot about abuse and what happened to me, I realized that I kept repeating the same things over and over again with different people in situations, which turned me angry. And then I started going off on people, which wasn't the healthiest of way, but I just basically started to like stand up for myself. And so in March 2020, I saw similar patterns to like narcissistic abuse.
I appreciate your story. It really sounds like you had some real down times, and it just sounded like you made a whole 360. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you for that, because that's the type of things that some people are going through those things right now, where they may feel depressed, they may feel down, or they feel like they're oppressed in so many different ways, and they don't know how to like change that energy and turn it into power for themselves. So you literally did a 360 flip and turn like all the things that were causing you fear and stress and making you feel depressed and down, and you took that and you just turned it into strength somehow. And that's like almost miraculous, because not everybody has that kind of story where they just switch to flip like that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm very lucky and I'm very blessed. I come from a very dysfunctional household. And like I'm the only one that's like, I don't know, that wants to like change herself and do better than previous generations, the present generation right now. And so I also worked in the shelter system and I worked in the school system before I was fired because of the mandates. So I've witnessed and I've seen how coming from certain like families, what that can do to your mind and, get you in drugs, get you hooked up on this and lead you in very, very, very bad ways. So I feel like, I don't know, it's just something in me, like I'm a fighter. Like and fighting is not always physical. It's I'm mentally strong. And, like I don't know, like I can get knocked out, but my mindset is that no matter what people do to me, no matter what happens, no matter if I ever go broke, homeless, I'm gonna get back up again. And I feel like the best teachers in life are not a textbook. It's not a textbook. It's not in the classroom. It's life. And so if you're able to use your pain and turn it into some kind of anger, not anger that you hurt yourself and other people, but the anger that I'm like, you know what? The best revenge you can give people is to be happy and successful and learn how to fend for yourself, which is what the elites don't want people to realize, in my honest opinion.
When you turn pain into fire, and you know how to use that fire, you know how to concentrate that fire properly, you turn into a person that just knows how to use yourself. You know how to use yourself. Once you do that, it's just like now I got significant mastery going on with myself, where I know how to use the good things about me, and I just could take advantage of that, and it turns into greatness.
Absolutely, for sure. If
Yeah,
you know how to
it's
use
all
it,
about turning the pain
that.
into power. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. So we like to this is what can make it better, aka what can make the world better. We like to discuss a whole bunch of different topics. We don't like to stick on one thing. We know New York City and the world is going through certain things. We like to cover the topics that people may not think about yet. We might cover the topics for the future. We might cover personal topics. So we like to talk about what can make the world better in general. It could be personal advice for people or whatever it may be. So we have a couple of questions that we're going to ask you, so that way we can get some good dialogue with you, some answers you may expect to answer or not. Some people may expect to hear it or not. Before we get into it, does anybody have anything else to say about, what she just spoke on about her, her testimony?
I do. Okay. So remember, Joe, when we was at Foley Square, right?
Yeah.
Foley Square. Okay.
What month was that? Because
that had to be like August or September.
Okay,
and
September. Okay.
I walked up to you with my babies and I gave you a hug. Do you remember?
Oh, I remember. I think that was like October or November.
It was like September, October, one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I walked up to you and I gave you a hug, and I was like, thank you. Like I didn't know where you was taking us, but I just know I was going. And when I tell you, me and my baby, my daughter, we walked that Brooklyn Bridge with you.
Mm-hmm.
And we were shouting. It was an experience like no other. Like my daughter never experienced that. My son was like 3 months old. He's like the first baby to be on a protest on the Brooklyn Bridge. He made history, and I was so excited to experience that. I never experienced that in my life. And I just knew it was going to be powerful, but I just wanted to hug you because something told me, give her a hug. Because I feel like people don't encourage others enough, especially when you're fighting, you putting your life on the line, and you front lining for us. You understand? So that's why,
Yeah, for sure.
that's why I did that. I was like, I hope she don't think I'm crazy, but I just needed to hug her.
No, multiple people come up to me all the time still. So as long as you're being like normal, because some people might be. I have encountered a few crazies during this moment, but as long as you come to me like normally and like that's not, to me, I don't find that weird at all.
Right, thank you. God, thank you for everything, for real, because that moment there, that sparked so much. It was like event after event after event. Like it wasn't really expected. Nobody knew what was gonna be next or what y'all was gonna do next. But the fight that y'all was doing, it just made so much sense because we're over here trying to protect our babies. Mind you, we can't be at every event. We don't know what's gonna happen, and I just was like, these people are really fighting for us. I had to let my daughter know, like, these are your freedom fighters. These are the people who are fighting for your rights. So I just want to thank you, the New York Freedom Rally, the Parents Against the DOE, we the parents, everybody who's involved in this movement and this awakening. We just want to thank y'all. So y'all inspired us to do this show, this podcast. Really.
No problem. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there are times I even wonder, like, did I really do something to change anything? Because I don't know. At that time, I don't think I myself and everyone else, I don't think we exactly knew what we were doing. We were just like, I don't know. We were angry. We were upset. We were desperate. We were like wondering, like, where's everyone else? How come, like, are we the only one that sees a problem with this stuff? Like, what happened to the real New Yorkers? Like, this is not New York. Like, we're known for taking no bullshit and do this and that, and all of a sudden everyone is like scaring their home, and where are the fathers, where are the mothers? Like, I was just confused. So I don't know, at that time we just did what we were called to do without giving it a second thought, without planning too much. It was very spontaneous, and I think in a way that's why it was kind of like, in a weird way, it was kind of fun doing it, because I'm like, I needed to get some sting off me, because I was just like, at that time, I was very angry, and I was just like confused, because I'm like, okay, why is everyone else not like seeing that this is like a huge problem? And it's like, if people don't start to stand up right now, like, this is gonna continue on and on and on, because these people have agendas planned out. So that's why, I myself and the other people on my team, that's why we decided to just do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, we never expected anything out of that. We never thought it was gonna get as big as it did or anything like that at all. Actually, we were kind of shocked in some shape or form, because it happened so quick.
Right. And mind you, mainstream media still was not covering it. So it was like, yeah, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. Because they were hiding it. They had their little helicopters in the air, but they were hiding it. That's what got me. And I was like, no, somebody better get these people up there. And then that's when I saw y'all like on the news segments, but it was like small. It was short. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't want it to show you too long. But I was just happy to see that you guys were actually made it,
Yeah. I mean, imagine if they actually report real stuff, then people are going to be like, wait a minute, how come there's people protesting this? People might just get curious, and then they might want to join. So, of course, they were not going to cover us. And if they, the times that they did cover us, sometimes were just like not in the best light, or they will highlight certain things that people did that made us look bad, so that they can show as, oh, you see this group of people, the anti-people, they're crazy and they're this, or highlight only Caucasians, so they can say it's white supremacy Trump supporters, instead of showing the diversity that was surrounding us at that moment.
Yeah, because it's very diverse. I tell you, it's a very diverse group of people. You guys are amazing. So, yeah. These are your freedom fighters. So our future,
Yeah. Shout
our,
out to all
our
the freedom
generation.
fighters. Shout out to
Yeah.
all the freedom fighters.
Breaking all generational curses right now. Right now. As we speak.
Right. In general, whenever you do something genuine and you're not looking outside yourself too much, you just in the action, you just genuinely going for a target. You just go, you got your goal set, and you just actively targeting it. You don't really see how great you are and how great what you're doing is. So now you got to have time to reflect and see and take a view and get other people's view on it. But you don't really see what you're doing when you just genuinely, I'm just doing something out of for the sake of righteousness. You can't really see how great what you're doing is while you're in the midst of that. That's way beyond what your mind is thinking right now. You're just thinking about attacking something. We're gonna get into these questions. Roy, you got anything, any comment, any last comments before we jump into the questions?
Yeah, I'm just soaking up game right now. For whatever reason, my service is going in and out, so I'm just trying to just stay solid in the conversation right now. But we're gonna get into it.
All right, bet we're gonna jump into it. All right, Joe. So the first question that I'm gonna ask you is, from your experience being a fighter, tell us about your healing process.
Okay, so for me, when I decided, when I was a teenager, I was trying to seek something because I felt like something was missing. And like I said, I was suicidal because I reported that I was suicidal to my doctor at that time. She had to tell my mom, and my mom didn't take that too well because she felt offended that I said that I was depressed and suicidal. And she said, well, we're giving you food and you have clothes. You have a home. There's nothing for you to be depressed about. That was her response. She felt like ashamed or humiliated that she saw it as like, oh, you're putting our business out here and you're making me look bad. So then they sent me to like a psychiatrist, and like he was an older white male. And I'm looking at him like, okay, so I'm here and you're trying to prescribe me medication. Like, that's not my issue. My issue comes from me feeling like I'm not loved by anybody. Nobody cares about me. If I kill myself right now at that moment, nobody's going to care. Who's going to give a damn if I kill myself? My friends at school, I barely had any friends. My family, I don't think they care about me. They don't love me based on the way they treat me. I rejected the medication because at that time I have seen like the truth about the psychiatric industry and what they really are about and what they were placed there by. Those are the top of the pyramid. So from there on, since, teenager, I always been seeking stuff. And what led me to heal was the fact that I had gone through really bad relationships with the opposite sex. I got married young and it was very abusive. It was very toxic, even from my part, not just from his part. And one time he legit tried to kill me. So from there forward, I don't know, I just started to get angry, and also I went to the workplace and I was overworking, overextending myself because I was raised to be some kind of caretaker. My parents, when you're a child, your needs go before your parents' needs, right? And so my parents made it seem like I had to take care of their needs, their emotions. Like I was to blame when they got angry. I was to blame when they didn't feel good enough about themselves. And so I was at the shelter system also working at that time that I was married. And I was just doing stuff and not getting paid what I deserve. And I wouldn't ask for a raise and I wouldn't speak up. And I had my coworkers treating me like crap. And then I was going through my bad relationships. So I just ended up getting really, really angry. I had numerous nervous breakdown. And then I had this lady there. She came up to me one day. She was like, she was a Christian and she worked at the shelter. She was like, you need to stop trying to be like these people. You are born for a different path. And then, I don't know, I just got sick and tired, being sick and tired, feeling like nothing that I ever do is good enough. Nothing is working out for me. Why am I always struggling financially? Why can I find a decent man? Why can I be in a loving relationship? I want to have a family. I want to have this. I want to have that. And after getting angry and just getting fed up and having a nervous breakdown, I started to seek into the whole narcissistic stuff. And then I realized I come from a narcissistic family. And then I just started getting books. I was watching YouTube videos. Eventually in 2017, I started going to therapy. And I was doing shadow work. And I still have some of those notebooks here from 2017. And notebooks that I've kept all the way till now. And I don't know. I just decided I don't want to feel this way anymore. And then I realized about generational curses. And like, I started to analyze everything. My relationships with man, my relationships with my father, with my mother, with my siblings, and everything. And I started to realize, oh my God, I'm doing X, Y, and Z because of that. I did this because of this. I need to change that. I need to change this. I'm a codependent. I want to fix people, but I don't have the energy to fix myself because I don't know. I just feel like other people are more important than me. And I want to take care of them, but then I don't take care of myself. You know, when you're healing, it's like up and down. It's nothing is straight. You're going to go through days that you have moments of like happiness and then moments where you feel like ish, right? So then I don't know. I just did whatever I had to do, and it's been years, and I still have a lot of work to do because you discover one thing and then you go to the next step, and then you realize there's more things to uncover. It's not easy, and this is why I talk about healing a lot now more, because a lot of the things that is being done to people is abuse, right? And in order for you to undo the abuse, you have to realize, what certain parts of the brain, what does it do? The brain actually is what's running our lives. The elites know that. So they do certain things to trigger people, right? Because the brain is responsible for emotion, it's responsible for how you feel, and it's like a tape recorder. So everything that you see around as a child, what your parents do, if you see your parents in bad relationships, right? Then that's all you know. So you're going to emulate that as you grow up. So I don't know. I'm dedicated. I have a lot of generational curses in my family. I'm the only one that has gone to therapy. I'm the only one that has the balls to recognize that I have a problem and I had to fix myself. And I'm not going to stop until every generational curse in my family, it's gone. Money problems, self-esteem problems, relationship problems, right? A lot more stuff. And so for me, I'm just determined to be the best person that I can at all costs, and I'm just not gonna stop.
Yeah, that's good. We don't talk about, I don't think humanity as a whole talks enough about how important therapy is. Design has a therapist he wants to bring up here as well one of these weekends, but we need to talk about therapy in a way where it's not like, oh, it's only for crazy people, it's only for psychiatric people, it's only for people with mental disabilities. Listen, we all are going through a mental challenge. If anyone thinks they're above anybody mentally, they are fooling themselves, and obviously they don't obey God. They don't know who God is, because if you are human enough to understand that this life is very, very difficult, nothing is going to be easy to figure out. You know what I'm saying? We have rules, we have guidebooks, we have all kind of books, we have biblical instructions that were left here saying we still don't even get it without needing something else, or some type of programming, or some type of higher hierarchy to tell us this is what you're supposed to do, this is how you got to do it. If you don't have parents, or if you do have parents, still it's like we're still in our walk alone. All of us, we're in our walk alone. We're in our spiritual journeys alone. You come in this world alone, you leave this world alone, so we have to really hone in on the therapy part, because even a therapist needs a therapist. Okay, they're taking on all of everybody's problems, and they have to eventually seek therapy themselves. So it's not a bad thing to seek therapy. We have to let that be known. So I'm glad you said that you seek therapy as well. I seek therapy as well, and I don't see anything wrong with it. I feel like if you yourself can put yourself into therapy without another person dictating you to do it, I think that you have more control over your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the Black and Latino community, people feel like therapy is like, oh no, I can't go to therapy because, like what you said, oh no, that's for crazy people, or no, this and this and that. And no, it's not. Like, therapy is for people that need the help, right? You don't have to go to the extreme of having to have like severe schizophrenia or severe bipolar disorder in order to go to therapy. It's just admitting the fact that you're powerless over something and that you might need help. We're all human. So some people might need help with this mentally. Some people might need help, I don't know, with like a trainer at the gym. What's the difference between that, right? And regardless of that, yeah, I went to therapy, but the therapist didn't do the work for me. I had to do that work, because
Exactly.
yeah, someone can give you the guideline, but if you don't put in that work, ain't nothing gonna fix unless you fix yourself. Like, I feel like nowadays, especially also with kids, with the way that the world is going and the way I feel like a lot of people are raising their kids and stuff like that, not in the healthiest way, you're going to seek something outside of yourself to fix that, right? And I even went to the codependency meetings. It's called CODA. It's like Codependent Anonymous, kind of like
Yeah, I heard of
Model
that.
Anonymous, something like that. And so they have a prayer, and one of the prayers, the Prayer of Serenity, and it says something, I don't remember fully, but it says something like you have to admit that you're powerless over your addiction. You have to admit that there's a higher self, a higher power than you, right? And
Yeah.
you have to surrender to the idea that you're perfect, because you're not perfect. You have this problem, and the
Right.
first way to admit that you have a problem, the first way to fix a problem is to admit that you have a problem, right? Because I can tell you, because I'm very good at reading people and stuff like that, because of, I don't know, I'm very intuitive. I can tell somebody, so and so, I think you need to do X, Y, and Z. I think you have this problem. But at the end of the day, if you don't see it for yourself, you ain't gonna fix nothing, because you don't admit it to yourself. You are avoiding the problem. And I think society, the reason why we're like in this mess right now, is part of it is due to like avoiding situations, avoiding our issues, not admitting certain dysfunctional behaviors in our own families. And this is how we enable a system of abuse. And the government and us, like as people, it's the same thing, because the government is us, the regular people that get into government, and but the same behaviors is being displayed. That means that we are into connected with each other. So there is no difference. There's no 6 degrees of separation here. It's not even the person. It's the spirit of the behavior of narcissism and all this unhealthy stuff that gets around. Because if you, I don't know if you guys are well versed in narcissism, this transcends cultures, it transcends language, country, because it's not it's not an individual. It's like a spirit of like I don't know, that's just being passed around for centuries and centuries and centuries. So until people decide like to heal themselves, the world will continue going the way that it is, because it's not politics that's going to fix issues that are generational. It's ourselves that are going to do that.
And
Right.
what's I remember when I was seeing Do Not Comply NYC, Rachel, her sister, during my pregnancy, she was helping me as well. Sarah, and she said it's an anti-Mary spirit happening along with the antichrist spirit. And when she said that, I was like, and she was like, yeah, it's a disrespect for women, for however long. But I never heard that term, anti-Mary spirit. I said, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Yes, that is deep. It's true. It's very true, because people disregard the mother, the woman, and you see all the disrespect happening all at once. And it's like, okay, now you want to talk about rights and this and that, and with the whole the way it gets rolling, blah blah blah. Everything, it doesn't make sense. So like how you go from trying to dictate what we put into our bodies to dictating what we do with our bodies, it's the same thing. Like how how stupid can people be? Like you don't see the manipulation. How can you say it's my body, my choice, but when it comes to when the beginning of this whole thing, you have to do this, you have to do that. So it's like people not seeing the manipulation going on is crazy to me, you know?
Right. You can't get manipulated like that. You gotta keep the same energy on all topics. My body, my choice mean my body, my choice for everything. It don't mean for one thing or another thing. It don't mean, my foot, you could do what you want my foot, but you can't do what you want on my arm. It's all my body.
Exactly.
So it should be an issue every single time.
And that Serenity Prayer that you was talking about, I got it on my back, right? I actually got that tatted on me when I first went to therapy when I was a teenager. And I was an adult, but I was still a teen, I got it because I took accountability for everything. My family generational curses, and it seems like I was the first one to do this, the first one to do that, the first one to go to pharmacy school and this and that. And so I'm like, okay, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I said, I'm gonna do that. And that was the first big step that I needed to take, because now nobody could say I'm crazy. Nobody could say anything to me because I put myself into therapy. I am taking accountability for my own actions. And if I do need help, I'm going to admit that. See, people around me that are narcissists and my family, they won't admit that. They don't want to admit that they need help. They think they don't need help. And it just makes the issue, you understand? It makes the problem, you don't solve anything. You make it worse. You understand?
You're not going to therapy, but we smoking weed 24 hours a day. You're not going to therapy, but we drinking all this liquor. We doing all this other stuff to try and cope with it. We got 10 different vices, but we don't go to therapy. And we say therapy is a problem, but when all therapy is psychological management, you're going to see a person that doesn't know you personally and isn't emotionally connected to you, is going to softly deliver you the truth, and you're going to go through it and you're going to see, oh, wait a minute, I'm not bugging. Something is wrong with me, or something is wrong with this situation, or something is going on. I'm getting an outside view from a professional that knows how to talk to you without disrespecting you while trying to show you ways to correct yourself. What's wrong with that? I don't understand what's the issue with that. There's nothing wrong with getting therapy. You know what I'm saying? We in a hood, we in a place where people are super prideful. So you tell people you're going to therapy, they're like, oh man, you can't deal with your problems. You know how to deal with your problems. Nah, I'm just trying to collect myself in a way that I could understand what's going on. I could break it down. It could finally hit my cognition. And I'm hearing it from somebody that actually knows how to suggest things and how to speak to me without making me feel personally connected to whatever they say, and I could perceive it properly. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nothing wrong with therapy. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna become a therapist. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, ain't you going to school for that?
That's the next move for me, you know what I'm saying? Because right. I feel like, especially after meeting with people and them telling me, yo, it's not that many therapists out here. People need therapy. I'm somebody that been through things and I can help somebody else with this. Of course, I'm gonna give it a shot, you know?
That's why I went to school for pharmacy. I didn't like what they were teaching in pharmacy. And they said, well, if you don't like what we're teaching, there's the door. And you have a choice. I said, you know what? I'm not wasting my $20,000 for you. I'm going to take what I learned and I'm going to apply it the way I need to apply it to my people. And then I'm going to use myself as the guinea pig, and I transfer over to holistic herbs, holistic medicine for alternative complex health. So yeah, now I'm going to use what I've learned and apply it the way God is telling me to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has a choice. You do it for good or you do it for bad. That's it.
Facts. Roy, do you want to share any comments before we get into this next question?
I just wanted to ask, why do you guys think that it's basically popular to be negative? Like, because I noticed that you mentioned the whole therapy aspect and how in our communities, like, it's not really popular to go to therapy. Like, it's like a negative stigma. So I just wanted to get, everybody's opinion on that.
Well, I think it's crafts in a bucket mentality, right? Because if you go to therapy, some people might find it as a weakness, right? And having to admit that you have a problem is not the easiest way, right? I feel like in our communities, like I said before, in the Black and Latino community, there's a stigma that therapy is like for crazy people. And typically, like, for example, I'm Dominican, right? So whenever I heard like a therapist, I thought of like, when I was a child, oh, that's for crazy people. Like for the people that you see in the street that have severe mental problems, that they can't fully function. Whenever like I saw anything regarding like psychology, as like a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old was like in a soap opera in which someone was taken into like a psych ward because they had lost their shit. So there's like a stigma. There's not really a lot of information in our community, especially in communities that are not on the highest social class status. And then people also like, from what I noticed then, because I lived in the Dominican Republic for a couple of years as a child, even though I was born and raised in the Bronx. Then I noticed that, for example, in the USA, I thought like, well, therapist was only for like, I don't know, rich, white, Caucasian people. That's what I thought, like out of ignorance, right? Because that's what we see around our communities. Like, I don't know, like, well, now I do, but before I didn't know too many people that look like me that were willing to admit that they wanted to go to therapy. Even when I was like in certain Facebook groups for people that were dealing with like issues of being raised in narcissistic family, the majority of the people in these Facebook groups, they were Caucasian. There were not many Latinos or Black in that group, or Asians for that matter. or whatever, because I feel like in the Caucasian community, it's easier to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to a therapist. No one's gonna look at you like you're a psycho, you're crazy, or whatever. Versus in our communities, for example, in the Asian community, they have a lot of issues with the ways that they raise their kids, right? In the Asian community, I don't think anyone wants to openly talk about they're going to go to therapy, because Asians are being raised in a way, and this is like a stereotype in a way. I'm not saying all Asians do this. They're raised in a way where just worry about academics. You have to make your family proud. Don't care how you feel about this. Sometimes the parents are cold and emotionally detached. And it's a generational thing where it's deemed normal, right? So then we have the other things in our communities as well. And so that's why I think people think that it's some sort of weakness to admit that you need some kind of help in that way, because people see it as you're being soft. And then also, if you're a man, that's even worse, because people be like, oh, you're PUSSY, you know, you can't handle yourself, you're not being a man, you're not doing this, you're not tough, you're not a gangster, right? Because then we have the music industry portraying men to be this type of way, and if you're not that type of way, the stereotypical way, then you're weak. You're not a man if you don't have a gun and you're shooting somebody, or if you're not in the corner selling drugs, if you don't have 50 females lined up, you're not a man. I just think that's why people believe that. And then also there's a probability that you are going to come out healthier from the therapy. And let's face it, when you start to put yourself first and be a little selfish and work for yourself, those people in your same group, your family or whoever the hell it is, they don't want you to surpass that. They don't want you to do better. And it's not necessarily that I think some people are being malicious on purpose. I don't even think some people realize what the hell they're doing by holding you back. It's because they're scared of the fact like, oh, this person was able to do that, but they don't have the ability or the strength to go and do that themselves. Because admitting that you have a problem is not a weakness. It's actually a strength, because you're admitting yourself that you have a problem. So that's what I think.